And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OC if we returned. As we have returned here with the second series of the broadcast, with our second best of 5, with the preliminary round here of the Maestros of the game. Again, a big shout to Comeback TV, a big shout to Funka, and all those working behind the scenes on the event for making this a reality. Shout to all the backers as well. Again, this was crowdfunded. We had so much support coming in from the greater community, from the French community, and also from the greater StarCraft 2 community as well, coming together, banding together, and crowdfunding a massive major tournament in France. Let's go, baby. Let us go. We just wrapped up with Sham versus Showtime, and now we have returned with a TvT with GuMiho and Ryung. Let's go. Let us go. As you can see here, we have our fresh best of 5, and we are nearing the halfway mark. Again, we have 4 best of 5s, so 4 best of 5s in total. The second one is upon us. You can hear the beeps. Vetoes are done, and game 1 is going to be on Tokamak. Oh boy, it could be loading into Tokamak here, and this is going to be an interesting one. Again, we have arguably 2 of the best Terran players out there in regards to TvT. You don't get better than GuMiho and Ryung, and I'm hoping this goes the distance. I can see this going all the way to the ace match. We'll see if we can go the distance here. We'll see who takes the lead. That's what jumping into game number 1. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the blue Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the red Terran player representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Will it go the way of the Terran? Will it go the way of the other Terran? Up to you to decide. Here we go, as this is going to be a bang over TvT. Again, you can make a very strong argument that both Ryung and GuMiho have the best TvT in the world. Better than Mario, better than Cure, better than Clem, of course, as he's just abandoned TvT at this point. Hasn't played TvT in almost a year. And again, thanks to players like this, players like Ryung, players like GuMiho. And we'll see how they approach each other, especially loading into Tokamak. Tokamak, we spoke about this previously. This is one of the larger maps in the map pool, long rushes by ground. Very defendable here. Your bases are very secure on your 2, 3, and 4 base setup. Even your 5th base as well can be relatively easy to acquire. And we might be in for a longer one here, especially because both Ryung and GuMiho are prone to playing mech. They're both prone to mech, so that is going to be on the table here in this TvT. For now, economic opener, Rax expand out of Ryung. GuMiho likewise, Rax, does open up single gas, but he goes for the factory before CC. Interesting. Yeah, my attention. You have my attention here, as the CC is going to be on the way. So a bit of a delayed command center out of GuMiho, but he does go for the earlier factory. With this, he's going to Reaper Hellion harassment and aggression early on. We'll see what he can accomplish with this. My eyes are mainly on GuMiho here. And so here we go. The Hellion is on the way. So GuMiho, he will have a bit of a power spike early on thanks to the Hellions. We'll see what he can accomplish with it. Home, everything's looking standard. Again, Ryung, no scouting. GuMiho, no scouting. It's very uncommon to see an SCV scout in TvT. We can see that Ryung, the most that we saw was he scouted the 3rd. He scouted for a proxy at the 3rd location. GuMiho, he is only just now moving up the heli. He didn't even scout his 3rd bases earlier. He does move out. Chat, I want them both to win. That's one of the unfortunate realities here for both of these players, is that there is no lower bracket, right? This is not double elimination. It's one and done here in the early rounds. And they make it through or you don't. As the Hellion does go down. Nice cleanup here out of Ryung, as he does go Reactored Hellion, and he continues Reactored Hellion, followed by the 1-1-1 into early Raven. Meanwhile, GuMiho going into a Banshee play. Okay, Banshees are on the way, Cyclones as well, very tech heavy with the earlier factory, with the earlier starport into all these tech labs. And GuMiho, he will have potential. Reaper goes down. Does go down. With that, we're building up. Chat, as we mentioned, just to reiterate once again, there's a high chance that both players embrace mech, as GuMiho does go for a third TC before anything else. So very greedy build here by GuMiho rushing to a third. And we'll see if Ryung can punish the greed, or if he meets it. For now, we have our Hellions moving out, Raven towards the main. With 2 Cyclones, GuMiho should have enough. So Ryung is deflected. Does spot the Banshee, is aware. Raven into the main base. SCVs are going to be going down against when he gets 2. Get 2 SCV kills, not bad. Can we get 3? We can! 3 SCVs, very nice. Raven backs off. Ryung, he saw the Cyclones, he saw the Banshee. So he should be getting ready, and he even saw the third CC. He knows. Yeah, so later third base out of Ryung. At least he kills some workers. Ryung does have a worker advantage currently, so he's going to be able to at least use that to make up for his otherwise later third base and later worker production as a result. So we have a bit of a give and take. Here come the additional factories for Ryung. So again, we have confirmation it's going to be mech. Likewise, we're expecting mech out of GuMiho as well. We'll also keep an eye out on additional factories. Go. Ryung is still being active. Going into Battle Mech. Battle Mech does have its place in TvT, especially against mech as well. In mech versus mech. If you remember, there was a time, maybe a couple of years ago, okay, but there was a time a couple of years ago where we actually had, like, during the Cyclone meta of Cyclone versus Cyclone for a time. That was back when we had a different version of the Cyclone. Those are dark times. Thankfully, we don't get that here. So it's going to be Biotank out of GuMiho. Reaper does confirm a very nice scout by Ryung, as Ryung, he sees all the extra racks, and he sees the tech lab on the racks, so he knows. Scan into the main also reveals the mech. So both players, they scout each other in different ways. And from here, things are going to slow down. Ryung has a more mobile army, and ideally wants to try to catch an army out in the open. GuMiho defending back at home. And is vying for air control. Reacting out those Vikings. Ryung moving in. At least looking for a way in. And especially on Tokamak, we should be able to get a third base, work towards a fourth expansion as well. It can be quite difficult to break a siege line. The Banshee gets across the map, gets 3 SCVs. It gets some damage. Ryung, for the most part, was ready. Was ready. Unfortunately, something that GuMiho is lacking because of his Viking production and Raven production, he has no drop play. Like, there are no medevacs currently. Medevac production has just now begun, so he has no mobility to his army. But the tank line is solid. But here come the disables! Yeah, the Ravens are ready. Here we go. Gets 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks are disabled. There's 1 tank left. Every single tank gets caught out. Ay, ay, ay. Here come the auto turrets as well. And GuMiho, can he break through? The disables are running out. Disables do run out. Tanks are back online. And Ryung, he barely doesn't have enough. Barely not enough here. Ooh, actually, never mind the tanks. Tanks pop up. 2 tanks left. Ryung, we can land. We can land the Vikings. There's nothing here. We can land the Vikings. You can do it. Never mind. Ryung, he backs off. He does back off. A very clutch fight. And Ryung, he did have enough to break through, but opts not to. He does opt not to. He opts not to throw away his Viking lead. Backs off. Ryung does retreat. He also saved one of the Ravens. I can't say the same for GuMiho. GuMiho lost his. He holds 2 Marines and 2 tanks. Let's go. And here comes the drop play. Medevacs load up. Ryung getting a couple of medevacs himself. That is interesting. Getting ready for his own Hellion drops, I would imagine. Okay, you have my attention. Going for Hellbat drops even. No. We're back to Heart of the Swarm. Let's go. Hellbats load up. GuMiho's still looking for a way in. And now we're slowing things down. We're slowing things down. Again, I do think there were opportunities for Ryung, but for the time being, both players are backing off. We have a 4th CC on location for GuMiho. 4th CC is now floating over for Ryung as well. So we're slowing things down. We're getting into a longer game state. More sensor towers, more tank lines, more defensive setups. Of course, remember, GuMiho's big advantage is going to be his mobility. It's going to be his ability to stim, to dive into tanks, to dive into siege lines, or to respond to drops. To even harass across the map. So right now the onus is going to be on GuMiho to find some damage. Meanwhile, it's going to be on Ryung to try to find what's coming his way to keep up. Now it goes down, destroys some mineral patches. Keep moving in. Get spotted. He responds. That's the other advantage here to having the Hellbats in these medevacs is that you can boost to respond. You can boost across. Ryung walling up with the CCs. That's the Marauders. Scan here ensures. Oh my god, we have a mass starport transition here. Mass BC, I should say. No fusion core though, but the starports are amassing. So from here, we can go into a Mass Tech Lab setup into Mass Raven. So Mass Raven is going to be accessible here. I'm going to assume Mass Raven just because there's no Fusion Core yet. Otherwise, if we get a Fusion Core, we can go into BCs. As you can see here, purely Tech Labs. Yeah, Tech Labs are on the way. Late game TvT is typically dominated by Mass Raven. Mass Raven is something that a lot of Terran players have been complaining about. A lot of the top Terran players. Something that has yet to be addressed. Get those threatened. It gets a tank. Tank goes down, and Ryung, he pushes through the center instead, does find a couple of free tanks. I say free, does trade 1-to-1. Takes out another, making his way through. GuMiho, he responds. My army turns around. Oof. Little tank shots. Here come the Ravens. Ravens are on the way. We spoke about it, but Mass Raven is kind of the late game composition you want to be working towards. GuMiho, he's getting there. He finds another tank. The tank goes down. Of course, I should also mention that when Ryung saw all the starports, he did respond with Mass Thor. So he made away with the Thors. GuMiho, he does find some damage, does get a Thor. These CCs are exposed. And Ryung, he's going for it. Again, where are the tanks? The tank almost resets. We're down to 3 tanks. Barely any tanks left for GuMiho. He's stepping in. Dusted forward into a tank line, and Ryung, he should take this fight. I say that his tanks are getting flanked. Yeah, nice flank here with the Marauders. And Thors are going down. Looks like they're just barely on enough tanks. And the Vikings never landed. Yeah, Vikings never did land. Not enough support, not enough buffer. Catching out more Thors. The Marauders, they trade very nicely. They trade well. Ryung has to get the hell out of there. And Ryung did not kill the CCs, he killed one. He killed one expansion, one command center. With that, both players are licking the wounds. GuMiho still sticking with Mass Marauder, making 4 Marauders at a time. Oh, a bit of a misclick is making some Reapers. I don't think that's intentional. GuMiho just rotates, now going back into his Ravens. Still very tense. Ryung is spotted, still is not moving out. GuMiho is maxed. Ryung, he's almost there. He's getting there. And here comes the Doom Drop. Okay, the main base, we do have a ring of turrets. Turrets covering the main, scouting racks. GuMiho scans, he's headed for the third. Oh, doesn't go for it. GuMiho got scanned. Yeah, he responds. And GuMiho, he has to be so careful here. Oh no! Jesus. Does boost away. Thankfully. GuMiho does boost away. He's gonna be chased down. Does escape. He breaks out. Getting into the first tank. Likewise gets a medevac as well. Trades 1 for 1. Gets a medevac, gets a CC. GuMiho looking at the Raven counter. We have 6 Ravens versus 7. There's a lot of Ravens. Disable's coming in. Disable still the tanks. Oof. Anti-armor missile does go up. Ryung is going. Sorry, GuMiho is going for the CC, going for the planetary. He gets 1. And Ryung, he's trying to keep up. Again, his army is so immobile. Ryung out of position. He's racing on over. Another planetary falls. Ryung, he has to try to keep up. Does mass disable. Gets all the tanks. All the tanks get caught. Doors are moving in, and GuMiho's army is getting caught out. He will lose everything. Tanks are falling. Down to 2 tanks. Bit of a rough fight here for Ryung, but he will clean up. Resets the tank out, but he lost a CC. He lost 2 planetaries. Meanwhile, Ryung is counterattacking. Ryung does counterattack. GuMiho, most of his army is here in the bio. In Marauders. Ravens are coming in. Loving the counter disable. Jeez, there's so much energy on these Ravens. Most of them are topped up. And we're base trading. Yeah, we're just gonna go for the base trade. GuMiho willing to lose the base. Moving out across the map instead. And do we commit to the base trade? Do we trade bases? What's the plan? Disables a pop-up. It should catch all the tanks. Ryung, he's racing back home. Does race back, throws down a couple of auto turrets. Those are in favor of GuMiho. But GuMiho might just be losing too much here. Yeah, he's losing far too much. Nice target firing, but the tanks are falling. Marines as well. Ryung, he defends back at home. He defends, he holds. And across map, he did get the expansion. Kills the base. Trading 1-1, but a better fight for Ryung. Ryung has a massive army to work with. And again, we gotta send it. Send it across back. Does find a mineral line. As if he's getting caught, and GG gets caught again. GuMiho just cannot keep up. Not anymore. And Ryung, he will take game number 1. Whew, GG. Ryung, he does take a lead in this series. Again, he was able to take these better fights. We saw that, unfortunately, GuMiho, he was able to get across the map at some points, but alas, he was mainly trading base for a base. He wasn't really gaining any further advantage, and Ryung was, for the most part, winning these fights in the lead up to the final moments of that game. We saw Ryung just able to reset the tank count time and time again. GuMiho had a very low tank count. He did go into Mass Raven, but at times we saw him being zoned away. He couldn't actually make full use of those Ravens. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see if Ryung can extend his lead. We'll see if GuMiho can fight back. Here we go. I like the bio choice. I think it's king. I mean, it's in a way kind of map dependent. What I mean by that is that mech does work better on certain maps than on others. We tried to emphasize some of the advantages of tokamak is just how close together the bases are, how defendable the bases are. So it is easier to rotate between them because there's less distance between base and base. That is different on other maps. For example, I do feel like mech is weaker, say, on Maganatho Incorporeal compared to tokamak. So the maps are really influential as to what is more favored than what is not, where mech can excel. Speaking of, we're now getting into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on Gresvan. Speaking of a mech map, this is also a mech map as well. for sure. I feel like mech can also excel here coming into Gresvan, as this is a much older map from many years ago. It's been quite some time, and now we're loading back in to Gresvan. Aye. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have the blue Terran player. We have the blue Terran. We have the South Korean Terran down in this series. We'll see if he bounces back. We'll see if he can recover and make a series out of this. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. Here we go. There we are. I should also emphasize that I didn't get to mention it last game, but we don't have cams for GuMiho, unfortunately. GuMiho just doesn't have it available. If he does advance on into further rounds, then he will make sure that he has that. But for tonight's broadcast, no cams for GuMiho. Here we go. Again, welcome back to Gresvan. Gresvan was in the map pool many years ago, and when it was in the map pool, it was known for being one of the larger macro maps. We saw a lot of late game on Gresvan. So because of this TvT, because of specifically the kind of players that GuMiho and Ryung are, I can see this game going the distance as well. But now, once again, GuMiho going for the same opener, single gas, but does open up racks into factory. Meanwhile, Ryung opening up racks factory as well, but double gas. Okay, so a more tech-heavy start here from Ryung. He can go for earlier tech labs into earlier Cyclone. We're expecting Reaper Hellion out of GuMiho. That's what we are expecting. We're going to CC on location. Ryung not too far behind, getting his own. Jesus, I'm getting like flashbacks to Gressvan. Oh god, I remember casting many like an hour-long ZVZ, many ZVZs on Gressvan. With like Dark versus Shin, Dark versus Scarlet. True, true. There's a burn into my skull. I remember mech being quite prevalent, and I remember Raynor going for a lot of German taxis against mech on Gressvan as well, and failing to break through. Like I remember casting, I think it was like Raynor versus Cure, where Raynor he went for the German taxi here, and he hit this third base up this ramp. Couldn't quite break through against Cure. I remember Cure, he was very fond of his, in TvZ, he was very fond of going for his 7-minute tank push with Armory and having like 4 to 6 Hellions to protect his tanks, morphing them into Hellbats, if you recall. Jesus, like all the all the games, they're flooding back to me. That was very trendy here on Gressvan. This was also in the meta of Mass Disruptor. This was before the Disruptor got nerfed. If you remember, the Disruptor, its supply got increased, so you could not make as many Disruptors, and that was like a big change. And I remember MaxPax being really upset. He was very upset about that change. But in the past, you used to be able to build up to like 12 Disruptors, and basically you'd have enough Disruptors in late game TvP to the point where you would fire off Novas, and by the time you would like spend your 12 Novas, your first Nova would be reset. Like the cooldown would already be reset by then, so you would have non-stop Novas available, just non-stop, just sending them out, and a lot of Terran players would be bullied. I remember casting Maru versus Trigger on Gressvan, and Trigger really doing well, excelling. I remember casting Clem versus MaxPax, of course, also on Gressvan. The Mass Disruptors. Then the supply got increased for the Disruptor. That kind of died off. All the memories. That's now nice pick up. Ryung does shut down the Banshee. Very strong start for Ryung, as that was a big investment from GuMiho. Behind this, once again, GuMiho going for a third CC after the 1-1-1. So once again, a very economic build here. But this time, GuMiho is going into mech. So GuMiho is meching it up. Last game, we saw Bio Tank out of GuMiho. This time, we are embracing mech, and so is Ryung. So we have mech versus mech. GuMiho does have a bit of a twist to this, though. A couple of things here. One, yes, we do have a much more economic build here by GuMiho going for the faster third CC, but do you see what I see? Second starport. We're going for a early 2-port setup, which means we're going into Massive Viking. We're going Tank Viking, a very efficient composition, but there are some weak points to this. So basically what GuMiho is doing here is going purely Tank Viking, which means he has very little support. So there's going to be a lack of Hellions, which means there's no buffer, there's no support for his army. His army is going to be a little bit fragile, at least in the early to mid game, until his third base gets up and running, until he gets more factories, until he can afford to make some Hellions and have that kind of buffer zone for his tanks. So this is very greedy. This is very greedy play here by GuMiho with a fast third and with cutting corners with his production as well. So a lot of greed out of GuMiho. Meanwhile, Ryung back at home, getting into the same style he went for last time. Nothing special here, getting into Battle Mech. Now there is, I don't really know if Battle Mech really has the potential to really dive into these tank lines. He might be able to with his Ravens, but remember the problem here is that GuMiho, he has double starport production, so he has a lot of Vikings, and the goal would be for GuMiho to zone away the Ravens and make sure that this time Ryung doesn't close the distance and does not disable the tanks. We'll see. We'll see if Ryung can break through. He gets spotted. GuMiho in position to delay. In position. Ryung, he rotates, scan, does reveal the rotation. GuMiho poking forward, keeping Ryung busy back at home. CC is delayed. Delays the CC. And GuMiho still just pumping out purely tanks and Vikings. And he's gonna get a little bit out of hand here at this point. How many Vikings? He's already on how many? On 8 Vikings. Jesus. And because of the greed out of GuMiho, this really kicks into high gear in the mid game, because he will have a very high Viking and tank count, and soon he'll just be able to walk across the map. Getting his 4th base on location, so it's just a really strong start here to GuMiho. He is getting away with it. Ryung trying to move out, trying to apply some kind of pressure. Scan reveals the 3rd base. Ryung is actually on a very low SCV count. Are we going for an all-in? He's not making workers. Double armory. Oh boy. So Ryung, he is building up into a longer game. He did delay worker production. He did miss some rotations with his SCV count. As you can see here, he's still undersaturated at the 3rd. And again, the soup does lie. Like right now, the supplies are close, but GuMiho, he will soon skyrocket ahead. He has 80 SCVs. He's getting his 4th base up and running. With that boosted economy, GuMiho, he will be the first to max. He should be the first to max out. Now, there's still a window in time where Ryung could try to break through and get some damage done early, and he has to. Otherwise, GuMiho will run away with this game. Liberating into the main, does harass. Ryung's moving in, does get 1 tank. He gets what he gets 2, not bad. 2 tanks disabled, he's going for the planetary. Vikings are rushing in. That's a lot of Vikings. But the planetary goes down, not bad, and then we have to get the hell out of here. Gets the base. Ryung, we gotta get out. We gotta escape. Get back home, Babby. Get back home. And looks like he will. Okay, Ryung, he will make it back home. So a nice attack here from Ryung. He will lose the bare minimum. And Ryung, he needs to do that again. Ideally, he needs to do that again. CZ's on the way. Viking harass here with the natural. It's gonna get an SCV. 3 SCVs going down. Ryung is pushing in. Does get a couple of nice tanks. Yeah, tanks are going down. Vikings are out of position as well. And Ryung is pushing in. Let's go. Yeah, does go for it. Does push right down the center. Vikings do fall. There are only, what, 3-4 tanks. GG gets called as GuMiho. He was distracted in the main. And Ryung, he does take a 2-0 lead. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very nice attack here from Ryung. Again, as we were mentioning, if the game went any longer, then Ryung would fall. I mean, he was falling behind, further and further behind. GuMiho was taking a greater economic lead, but he was distracted by the landed Vikings, and we saw that Ryung was able to rotate, able to find a way into the bases, caught out the tanks. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A lot of pressure was on Ryung, but he found a way in, he found damage, and with that, we're now getting into game number 3. This is actually looking very similar to the Chan versus Showtime series, where Chan was up 2-0. Chan was up 2-0 against Showtime, but then Showtime, he brought it all the way back, winning 3 games in a row. Can GuMiho do the same? We'll see. I'm a little bit concerned here just because of the maps that were chosen. The first 2 maps, Gresvan and Tokamak, very large maps, very slow maps as well. They lead into longer game states, typically I should say, which is also why I'm sure GuMiho, he felt very safe going and rushing to a 3rd base in both Game 1 and Game 2. Now, welcome to Game 3, Ultra Love. Ultra Love is going to be the 3rd game here of the series, and this is a much smaller map, a shorter rush distance by ground. This is a map of extremes. It reminds me a little bit of Persephone, if you recall, where we either end the game early because the rush distance by ground. We've seen a lot of successful all-ins on Ultra Love, but we've also seen a lot of late game, just because if you can establish your 4-base setup here, there's a lot of choke points, there's a lot of ramps, there's a lot of points of elevation. Because of that, it can be hard to actually push past that halfway mark after a certain point. So we either see short games or long games on Ultra Love. Very little in between, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get there. We'll see how our players will approach this. Something that we haven't seen yet that is very common in Korean TvT is proxies. We haven't seen, you know, proxy 2x Reaper or any Marauder-based proxy yet in this series. We could see that at some point here on Ultra Love. Ryung has a lead. He might be tempted. He might be tempted. The problem, though, with going for that is that so far every game we've seen faster factories out of GuMiho. We saw that in Game 1 and in Game 2. So, again, Ryung, after seeing that, I'm sure he's probably not tempted to try to proxy his opponent if GuMiho is playing safe blindly. But we'll see. We'll see as we are getting into game number 2. Sorry, game number 3. Babby, it's 4 a.m. It's a little bit fatigued, a little bit. The soup lies? This is an outrage. Someone stop the soup from lying. Something must be done. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran leading the series 2-0. Arguably has the best TvT in the world. It is Ryung. Something that is inarguable is that he is the reason why Clem no longer plays TvT. that is this man right here. That's true. He is the reason. No. He bullied Clem into Protoss, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Blue Terran. It is GuMiho. Ryung. Here we go. As we are going to be settling in. And welcome one more to Ultra Love. We do have a double gas opener out of GuMiho. So GuMiho is going for a faster factory into a delayed CC. I didn't know it was because of Ryung. Yeah, Ryung. Ryung, he has, as I mentioned before, he has arguably the best TvT in the world, and there was a big stint, if you remember, in World Team League, in WTL, Ryung was the Clem crusher. Like, whenever Team Vitality versus Basilisk, Team Vitality versus Team Liquid, in World Team League, Ryung, whenever they played, Ryung, he was the one that they would call upon. They would often not revive or not send Maru out to play against Clem. It'd be Ryung. Like, Ryung, he would be the Clem sniper. Time and time again would bring him down in individual series as well. And if you remember, it was last year December, Alima League early December was the last time that Clem played Terran in TvT. Mid-series against Ryung, he won game 1, of course. He won game 1. We got into game 2, and Clem, that's when he was like, nope. He switched to Protoss, and he never looked back. Never looked back. That game against Ryung in Alima League, that was the last time that Clem competed as Terran in TvT. That was back in December. Never again. I miss WTL. I'm sure we all do. World Team League. When it comes to Team Vitality versus Basilisk, it was Solar. Solar was the Serral Slayer. That's what Solar was. He was the one that they relied upon to snipe Serral. Oh. Of course, that was back when Solar was on Team Vitality. For now, though, we are going to be settling in. We do have our 1-1-1 here out of GuMiho. Likewise, Ryung as well. Getting our natural bases, and we have seen a lot of mechs so far between our two players. I'm not too fond of the item. Am I? I mean, mech can work here. Oh no, Mind Shots! Mind Shot goes off, takes down the Reaper, splash damage on the Hellion as well. And with that nice control out of Ryung, he does snipe the weakened Reaper, the Hellion as well, and Ryung, he holds, he defends, he shuts us down. There's one Reaper remaining, and again, GuMiho, he does not break through. He does go in for a scout at least, but ooh, The final Reaper falls. It's a nice defense by Ryung. Again, GuMiho did take that mind shot to the face. Was brutal. From here, we're calming down. Do have our bio tank. At least for now. Early medevac, early drop play. GuMiho, the aggression is not stopping. He's rushing across the map with that medevac. The downside, of course, is that his Raven production is going to be delayed. We have the Raven on the way for Ryung instead. So far, Ryung has held. Can he do it again? As here comes the drop. Now remember, these are Vanilla Marines. This is pre-stim. So Vanilla Marines, single tank. There is a position here on Ultra Love where I believe you can get within range of the mineral line. As he's built. Oh my god, my shot goes off. Ay. Another medevac! Medevac is going to go down as well, and things are looking dire here for GuMiho. Bleeds out a lot of units. The tank does survive, thankfully. Tank does survive. But GuMiho, I feel like we got to get the hell out of here. We got to leave! Get out of here! The tank's racing back home. Can he escape? At the same time, GuMiho is trying to reinforce. Loken is brutal, and the Cyclone stays within range. Yeah, tank goes down. Looking disastrous for GuMiho. He is rallying. Can he siege in time? Does siege. Does siege up. Does get a tank shot on the tank. Nicely done. Gets one. He gets one tank. Nice pick off here by GuMiho. The pressure is on. Second starport's on the way. 2.2 base all in. Ooh, Ryung going a little bit old school. Again, Ryung, he rushes into a second starport for Mass Viking production. This eventually leads into Liberators. Eventually. So Ryung, Mass Viking. Meanwhile, we have a second factory out of GuMiho going into mech. So the way this build works that Ryung is going for is that with the second starport, you will gain map control. Sorry, air control. You will gain air control with Mass Viking. Once you gain air control, you can make a Liberator to make use of that to bully the ground army as well. So this typically does lead into Liberators. Meanwhile, GuMiho back at home, he is going for his own second starport as well, but this is much later. This will help. Will help when it comes to Vikings. As Ryung is pushing. Again, we're still waiting for that Liberator. We should be seeing one after this volley. After this Viking. Scan doesn't see much. Oh, drops into the main though. Does drop in. SCVs are going to be going down. Yeah, Ryung, he was out of position. Racing on over. That's going to be 5 SCV kills. Very nice damage by GuMiho. Finally, something going his way. The Marines, they're still going him. Yeah, they're still going him in the main. 9 SCV kills. Now going for the tank as well. More boys being pulled. And Ryung, this is critical damage. Using far too much. 11 SCVs go down. It's go time. We got to go. We got to send it. Vikings, they just land with the army. Okay, sure. They land with the army. Ryung, he has not made Liberators, just going Mass Viking. Does go for the Mass. He disables everything. Oh my god. He disables everything. He's waddling in. The Vikings. Send that by the boys are being pulled. Nicely done. But despite that, the tanks are still falling. And Ryung, he breaks through. He breaks through. There's 1 tank left. 0 tanks left. Ryung, he does bust on through. Busts into the natural zone. 24 SCV kills. And Ryung is going for the kill. He's going for the kill. He's going for the throat. Getting within range of the third and also covering the ramp at the natural. Wedging himself in between the bases. Behind this, we have another CC on the way, on location. And GG gets called. Ryung, he will claim the series 3-0. Doesn't drop a map. And Ryung, he will make it through into the group stage. GG. Whew. Yes, they're young. GG, well played. Oh. There it is. Congratulations to Ryung as it does claim the series, does take the 3-0. Again, Ryung, he has some killer TvT. I will say that this was very fortunate. I should also, winding it back here, praising Ryung, but also winding it back a little bit. Ryung, this is his best matchup. He's a little bit weaker against Protoss and against Zerg, but TvT is where he can pop off, where he can excel, and he happened to be up against a fellow Terran here in the prelimination round. So very, very strong performance here by Ryung. Wish him the best. I hope that he finds some Terrans in the group stage. Hope that he can find them there as well. Best of luck. Best of luck to Ryung, to the tuner himself. Ryung, as we are now halfway through the broadcast. We're halfway through. Up next, we do have a best of 5 between Zaun and Spirit. One moment here as I do refresh. We can refresh the bracket together and have a look together. Bam. Okay, so already we had Showtime did take down Cham 3-2, making it through to the group stage. He has qualified. Meanwhile, Ryung, Wikipedia page will soon be updated, but Ryung, he does take the 3-0 over GuMiho as well, also qualifying for the group stage. Up next, we have Zaun versus Spirit, and then Rogue versus Mana at the end of the broadcast. We're halfway through, 2 best of 5s remaining. Oh boy, as we have some Korean on European action. So for now, we're going to be heading over to the America server. Vetoes are underway as we speak. Yep, vetoes are underway. And we'll soon be set up. This is going to be a bit of an extended break just because the players need some time to veto and to get their, not just veto, but also to get their webcams up and running. So we're going to be going on a bit of an extended break here. So take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and hydrate all of your hydras. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon with the rest of the broadcast. Okay. Solo was the guy with the OP muters. True. 4 games / series today? Yes, 4 series. 4 series. 4 best of 5s. But yes, for now, we're going to be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll have a next series. We'll see you soon. See you soon after the break. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.